guys, welcome to my channel. Build a strong foundation. That is what I want to talk about today. Having a strong foundation is very important in friendships and relationships, also in houses. You need a good foundation to make the house, stand. So building a strong foundation in your makeup is also very, very important. So I have 5 tips for you guys on how to build a very strong foundation and to make your foundation look good and to also help you figure out what kind of foundation works best for your skin. The first tip that I have for you guys, it seems like a very obvious one, I'm sure to everybody, but wash your face before doing your makeup. As someone who used to think that washing my face at the end of the night to take off my makeup and that I would just be fine in the morning before applying another, full face of makeup, that is not okay. That is not okay at all. Because from the time you take off your makeup at night to the time you apply it again the next day, all kinds of residue can get on your skin. You could sweat or just, natural oils that are on your skin. Not washing your face before applying your primer or moisturizer or foundation or whatever you do first is a great way to clog pores and to get acne. Always, always, always want to clean your skin before putting anything on it. The facial cleanser that I use is this Newport Cleansing Facial Bar. It says for blemish prone skin, which isn't necessarily me anymore. I used to be very acne prone when I was in high school. I will show you guys how I still make it work for me even though I have very dry skin, and this definitely does dry out your skin, but it makes me feel better and I also feel like it really helps clean my skin and helps with me not getting acne. So even though it technically isn't for my skin type, it very much works for me. So if you find something that cleanses your skin and works for you, just use that. Make sure to clean your skin. This kind of goes into the next thing, but I'm also going to keep it with this. Since I use a very drying soap to clean my skin, I will use a very thick moisturizer. Right now I'm going to be using the Hello Hydration Face Cream from ELF. This is very good. It's a very thick moisturizer and it really helps to bring my skin right back to life after using a drying soap. So now that I have moisturized, this brings me to my second tip, and it is to properly prime your skin. I have struggled with this a lot more until recently because I was using a lot of famous primers or popular primers because I thought primers were just meant to, make your foundation look good, but I wasn't picking out primers that were good for my skin. I was picking out like poreless primers or blurring primers, and those usually aren't the best for dry skin. For dry skin, you normally want something very hydrating or pretty much anything with hyaluronic acid in it. You just want something hydrating. Now, if you have oily skin, you're gonna want an oil-free primer. It doesn't necessarily have to be mattifying, it can be hydrating, it can be any kind of primer, but you're gonna wanna look for those keywords oil-free so it doesn't make you even more oily. And dry skin, I would stay away from anything that says mattifying. I have found some poreless primers that are still really good and feel pretty hydrating, but I would stay away from anything that says mattifying. So the primer I'm going to be using today actually would probably work for any kind of skin tone. It is the JCat H2O Fresh Dewy Primer, which if you can see, it says it's hydrating and oil-free. As long as I can find these products, I will link them all down below in case you guys are interested to read more about these products. I personally like this one a lot because it's also a little bit cooling, and if you guys couldn't tell by me rubbing my face with moisturizer, my face gets very red and almost inflamed looking when I rub my face. So picking something that's hydrating and cooling usually really helps with that redness. And if you guys couldn't tell, I try not to add too much, but I do want to blend it all over my face, and you can also blend it down your neck. That's also good. Your neck needs moisturizing too. Now that we are done with the prep and prime of the skin, I want to talk about shade matching. The main problem I've seen people struggle with, and including myself, my very first foundation I ever wore was one of those little CoverGirl ones. They're in, the little triangle bottles. and I had such an awful shade match for myself because I didn't know my undertones. A lot of people I know still think that you need to match your foundation to your face, but you really need to match it to your neck. As you guys can see, my face is very red. It has a lot of redness, and that's what I used to do. I used to pick any kind of foundation that had very pink undertone because my face was red and I thought that's what I needed to do. But my neck has a very yellowish neutral undertone, which means that when I wear a neutral or yellow foundation, it looks a lot better because it matches my neck. Because your face is going to be covered with makeup, so you need to match it to what's still going to be looking natural, which is your neck. So the foundation I'm going to be using today is the Revolution Conceal and Hydrate foundation. I have mine in the shade F1, which if you guys can tell looks like a pretty good match for me, and I will show you guys on my skin. It's also very full coverage, so you know, but you guys see how that looks, how it doesn't match the pink, but it matches my neck. That's what you guys want for your color matches. So an easy trick that I've learned to figure out if you're cool tone, warm tone, or neutral, if you have cool undertones, then colors like blue and purple won't be ill-fitting on you. They will look very good on you. They will look very vibrant. But if you have warm undertones, colors like orange or red won't make you look ill. They'll be very fitting on you. And if you have neutral, then either or, you could go either way, and neither one of them are necessarily going to make you look ill or washed out. So for me, I'm pretty neutral, but I lean more to the warm shades. So normally, if you're looking online, you can usually see next to the shade name, it'll say, you know, light neutral or light warm if you're, you know, fair like me and you're looking in the light or fair section, or light with cool undertones. So if you just take like a blue shirt, preferably probably like a dark blue, and same with the red, more like a like Christmassy red, and hold them up to yourself and figure out which one makes your skin look less ill-fitting, then that is probably your undertone, if that makes any sense whatsoever. The fourth tip I have for you guys is to pick the right formula. Now, it can be hard to know what kind of formula is going to work for you, but it sort of goes back to the primer situation, as you would want, you know, for dry skin, you might want a more dewy or hydrating or skin finish sort of foundation, while if you have oily skin, those aren't going to last as well on you, so you might prefer something more mattifying or, you know, again, sort of skin-like, because if you used mattifying on dry skin, then that would probably cling to your dry patches and wouldn't look very flattering on you. I've showed you guys how the foundation matches my undertone, but now I want to tell you guys why I picked this foundation for its formula. I chose this foundation in F1, which is for fair skin tones with neutral undertones, and you guys saw how well that matched on my neck. It looks very good. I've also chose this one because of the formula. This one is a hydrating foundation with hyaluronic acid in it, and it looks very good on my skin. It's very hydrating. It does not cling to any dry patches. So if you have dry skin, this is a foundation I highly recommend for you guys. If you have dry skin, you're gonna wanna pick a foundation that has a natural to radiant, you know, very dewy or skin-like foundation, because that won't cling to your dry patches. But if you have oily skin, you're going to want to pick something mattifying or very natural, because it's not going to make you more oily. Whereas this foundation may not last as well on someone with oily skin, because their oils would come through the dewiness and it might wear off a lot faster. And for dry skin, if you picked a matte foundation, then it might cling to your dry patches and look very crusty and gross, and that's not how you want your foundation to look. Leading to my fifth and final tip, which is blend it out. Always start with a tiny bit of foundation and work your way up. Build up your foundation. If you start with too much right away, you could get a cakey mess so fast. Now, I prefer to blend out mine with a beauty blender. To me, I feel like using a damp beauty blender makes it look more dewy and it's easier to blend out, and I feel like it helps it not look so cakey. Now, it may look like I started out with a lot, but I didn't. It's just how full coverage this foundation is. And, you know, picking your coverage, that is all up to you. Because I feel like as long as you have the right formula, the right primer, and all of that, I don't think that the coverage should really matter. I have some light coverage, I have some full coverage. As long as you have the right formula and the right base, the coverage is completely up to you. Another thing I want to add is when blending out your foundation, even if it is, you know, a good shade match for you, I still 100% recommend blending it down to your neck a little bit and also onto your ears. I'm not going to be blending mine onto my ears because my hair is covering my ears today, but I am going to blend it down my neck just a little bit. So I'm just going to add some on here. You don't want to add too much. I usually just use whatever excess is on my sponge. I definitely think that's a very important step if you're choosing a shade that might not quite match you exactly, because, you know, I have found that I have a lot of foundations that are very close matches, but it's not always going to be perfect. Honestly, I can pull off lighter foundations than this, and I can pull off darker foundations than this. You know, just as long as you have the undertone right, you have a tiny bit of wiggle room. You know, I could probably wear the lightest shade in this foundation, and I could probably go a shade darker as long as I have the right undertone. Now, I'm not saying I could go like all the way to the darkest, because obviously that's not going to match me. But as long as you have the right undertone, you have a little bit of wiggle room if you know your undertone. Here's a quick little close-up of what this looks like. My face has been washed. I've got the right undertone, the right primer. I've got the right formula, and I've blended it out nicely, I think, if I want to toot my own horn. And this is what my foundation looks like. Probably can't even tell that I have dry skin after all that work. Okay, I'm back. I look a little bit like a clown. I was trying to do like an intense pink look, and I'm not really sure what happened, but okay. So I just want to mention again the 5 tips that I have for you guys for perfecting your foundation. Wash your skin, wash your face. Make sure to always wash your face before applying your makeup. Properly prime your skin. Finding a good primer for your skin is always going to be important. Choosing the right shade, figuring out your undertones and your skin tones, and matching your foundation to your neck. Choose the right formula. If you've got the wrong formula, it's going to either wear off or it's going to get cakey, so make sure to find the right kind of formula. And lastly, blend it out. Always, always, always blend it out. If you think you've blended out your foundation, blend it out a little bit more. I think that is like a key thing. Even if your foundation matches your skin, if you don't completely blend it out and, you know, really take the time to build it up instead of just going in with a bunch of foundation to start with, always use little bits and build it up and blend it out. Alright, I think that's all I have for you guys today. I hope this video was very helpful to you guys, and I noticed that like over 80% of people watching my videos aren't subscribed, so if you made it to this point in my video, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you know when I post videos. And if you found this video helpful, then definitely subscribe and let me know what other kind of things you guys want tips and tricks on. I mean, I'm not a professional, but I've definitely struggled before and I've made my way through it. So also don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making it, so hopefully it turns out good and hopefully it's very helpful for you guys. Anyways, I post videos every single Saturday and I will see you guys next Saturday. Bye! Also, it's Wednesday, and on Wednesdays, we wear pink.